Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Healing the Planet from Within. My name is Santosha and I have a really interesting conversation ahead for you about being neurodivergent. So here I have the greatest honor to interview and discuss this topic with Theresa from Germany. And you are a lawyer in Germany. And a writer.
Correct.
And then you're moving into becoming a neurodivergent counselor.
Exactly.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
We have a beautiful background here on the beach and it's absolutely gorgeous. We had a really interesting conversation yesterday over breakfast and that's what just clicked for me. It's like, I need to get you on a video because you have such a vast knowledge, deeper knowledge about being neurodivergent and what that means in your own life, but how it can help the viewers as well and what they're going through. Because, I mean, as you know, if you're watching this video, it's a struggle being neurodivergent because of the labels, the stigma, but also the daily struggles we go through.
Yeah, just the surroundings.
Just the surroundings and our internal
and
world.
the inside also.
And it really depends on, because there's so many different types of neurodivergent and each person is individual. So let's where would you like to start on that topic?
Maybe I would like to start with a little bit with my background and why I chose to become a coach. And I'm going through that process right now because I'm going to try to keep it short. I always knew that I was kind of different, and my mom took me to a psychologist first when I was 7 because she was saying there's something off with this child.
Wow.
My mom loved me very much, but there was something off with me. And at that point, we only found out that I'm somewhere on the gifted spectrum, but that did not explain all the things that ensued. And I have a long, which is very typical for women on the spectrum. So my final diagnosis is giftedness plus autism plus ADHD. And women on the spectrum often present very differently from, the image we have in mind of an autistic person, which is usually a white boy who loves to line up trains and won't make eye contact. And I was not that. I was a very anxious, very shy little girl who then in her adolescence had a lot of mental health struggles based on the struggles that I had in my social life, based on, my rigidity, my need for structure, but also my need for novelty that comes from the ADHD and all the social stuff that ensues. And then I went through a lot of therapy and a lot of self-healing, meditation, yoga, blah, blah, blah. But there was still something. And then, because now the whole topic is becoming it's starting to be more in the public focus, and people started suggesting to me, hey, don't you think you're maybe autistic? And at first I was like, no, I'm way too social. And I simply did not know how women present. So I started looking into it. And then I got an official diagnosis. And that changed everything for me because all the self-judgment, all the self-blame, all the self-hatred, all this feeling of why are things so hard? And why am I continuously burning out or landing in a depression? Even though on the surface I'm, very successful, I'm an overachiever even. But on the inside, I always had loads of struggles. And now I just understand there's nothing wrong with me. My brain is just wired a little bit differently. So just like a person with, let's say a gluten intolerance just needs a certain type of diet, I need a certain type of working or structuring my life around people and alone time and a couple of other things. So the diagnosis enables me to take better care of myself.
So the diagnosis was really the turning point for you.
Even a little bit before, when I kind of self-diagnosed, but I felt that I wanted to and I was able to afford an official diagnosis. Not everybody is able to do so.
Yeah, that's true. I know even in Australia it's very difficult to be able to get a diagnosis. It takes many years in the public system and very costly in the private, and it's just ridiculous. And then after that, whether there's support.
There is no support. At least in Germany, there is no support. I will probably apply for a disability card, but that might actually be also like declined. I'm not sure what's going to happen because, for example, a friend of mine did that, and the guy who was working in that institution that's responsible for that said, no, you, at least you have to be as disabled as I am, and he's in a wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
So
there's
autism,
different
ADHD is an invisible disability.
Yeah. How do you, I mean, advice for the viewers as well as myself, how do you work with the label and still be in the world and be okay?
It is a big question. I'm a chronic oversharer, which also has to do with the autism. I don't know when and where to share information. I mean, I can keep secrets, but my own information. Because I'm definitely not interested at all in small talk. So I just blurt out the things that I'm just currently thinking about, which at the moment happens to be neurodivergence a lot. So I just go around and tell people I'm autistic. I know a lot of people who don't do that, and that is very valid. And I was thinking about whether this is a smart thing to do, and maybe it isn't. But also I realized that this is my opportunity to help correcting people's image of neurodivergence, because they meet me and they have a conversation with me and they realize that a lot of the stigma they have about people who are autistic or ADHD is not true in me, and therefore probably also not in others. So I'm kind of trying to give an example, but you always have to be careful, because obviously like a lot of the stigma comes from somewhere. It is a disability for a lot of people. I mean, we can kind of define or choose to label ourselves as disabled or not. But I also want to say that it is a fact that it's not just a superpower. It is also, for many of us, a very serious disability. And I kind of am careful to like run with this narrative of neurodivergence being a superpower, because I feel that from putting neurodivergent people down for centuries, it just straight went into this narrative of, oh, it's a superpower. So that will also lead to us not having the support we need. So it can be a superpower. I would not want to change like if you offer me to swap my brain for another brain, I'm not going to do it. But I know a ton of autistic people who would. And I'm not going to lie, it's not easy, and it costs me a lot of money to maintain my mental stability. It has cost me a lot of time that other people just have, like, for different things, and it will continue to do so for the rest of my life. And I have a lot of abilities through that. But anyway, like going back to how to work with the stigma, I think everybody needs to make that decision for themselves. You will be confronted with people's reactions. And there are many different reactions, from, oh, but, well, you know, we're all a little autistic, aren't we? No, we're not, just as we're not all a little bit pregnant. It is actually like really a different wiring of the brain, and we do not all have that a little bit. We have character traits. Some people are shy, some people are more sensitive, but for you to get an autism diagnosis, a lot of criteria need to be present throughout all of your life from early childhood on. So as much as self-diagnosis is valid, please do not self-diagnose on one or two character traits.
That's an interesting point. What are the key indicators that you'd say? Like for me, I'm sensitive to noise. I can't be in big crowds. If I touch something of someone's that feels dirty, I have to go wash my hands. I can't have small talk. It really irritates me big time. So what are the key indicators for you? Because I haven't been officially diagnosed, but I have a lot of the traits. And I just feel like I've never fit into the world. I can't work a full-time job. That's just impossible. Like we had the conversation yesterday around that one. So what would you say? I mean, for the viewers who are watching this and they might think they're neurodivergent, What are the key indicators before that indicate that they need to get the test done, or they could get a test done?
So I'm not a doctor. I just read some stuff, and I might not be able to reproduce it completely correctly. In the DSM-5, there are 3 main categories. I think maybe one of them is not actually in the DSM-5, but it is like social and communication differences. And the second one is like a very, very increased need for structure, a personal rigidity, and sometimes repetitive movements or sounds. And then there's the third thing that actually most of the people that I talk to who are autistic mention is the strongest indicator for them, which are the sensory differences or sensitivities, which are also what has bothered me most for all of my life. And all of these 3 need to be present over a long period of time, and they need to really impact you in your life.
No, it's not just a passing phase. Like 1 month I don't feel like going out with my friends.
No.
I must be autistic.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Like it's all of your life struggles, maintaining friendships, understanding people, not fitting into conversations, having trouble with structure or
Like getting social
non-structure.
norms.
Social norms, like overly taking things literally.
Literally is best, of course. Literally
Yes.
is best.
Exactly. And
strange cues in conversations people have. I go,
being unable to read social cues, and like also then there's masking. So if you meet me, it's not like we don't learn. We do learn. But for example, when I did my test, my official diagnosis, the therapist gave me 25, 26 sheets where you could just see this part of the face, so just the eyes. And in each corner of the image, there was like one possible expression, like angry, ashamed, tired, and one more.
wow.
And I had to just, based on the eyes, say what that person was feeling. And at first I was like, maybe I should fake my results because she's going to think that I'm definitely not autistic because, come on, I'm not stupid. And then I did the test. And within 5 minutes, I was basically sweating, extremely exhausted, like I had just run like 10 kilometers. And my results were not good. And she said, like, I can see that how you read these eye expressions is through logical deduction. So you go like, oh, here, like the pupils are a little like enlarged. Here, the person is kind of like squinting.
Yeah.
So what we don't have is this intuition. We have other intuitions like the sensing of energies a lot of the time, which is also one of the reasons why we withdraw so much, because it's just too much that we feel. An autistic brain processes about 42% more information than an allistic and non-autistic brain. And
But what I have found is that we can recognize the patterns. I call patterns. I see patterns everywhere. I can recognize the patterns in someone's social cues and their norms, and eventually, after this time, because I'm 56 now, I can identify these patterns.
Exactly. Maybe when I was a child, I was standing there thinking like, huh? Yeah. But now I've been in that situation millions of times, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is that. You know, they want me to do that now.
Yeah. But then, how does the rest of the world do that if they don't see the patterns? How do they recognize these feelings, emotions, thoughts?
I might find out in the next life when I'm not autistic. I have no clue.
Because I don't understand. How do they do it if they're not looking at patterns? They don't see their own patterns. They don't see their own energies. You see, and it's really frustrating when you see someone's carrying around a negative energy and constantly complaining about their health. And I'm thinking, can't they see what they're doing? Like there's this...
I think, again, we need to be careful. It's not just black and white, like they don't see it at all. It's an enhanced capacity that most autistic people have.
Some people don't see it at
also
all.
really depending on the IQ and on, like, you know, the social setting. So it's not just, it's nature and nurture, right? And then there's one thing that is my kind of my own theory, but that's not like a characteristic trait for an autism diagnosis. I believe that autistic people have less capacity for denial.
Yeah.
So what I see in a lot of
Interesting.
allistic people is that they have the gift or the curse of being able to completely lie to themselves for extended periods of time. And I feel that I've never been able to do so. But you know, there's also, it's not just about neurodivergence and being neurotypical, but there are so many other factors that influence, like trauma, cultural influences.
Yeah.
What is your culture? Does your culture invite you? Like I'm German, so for example, we are pretty straightforward. And I would say we're relatively honest compared to some other cultures.
Yeah.
Where it's just more culturally accepted or even wanted to tell white lies.
Or
So that
or
also
black
influences.
lies. Yeah, the lies are normal in some cultures. And that confused me when I first started traveling in different cultures. I was like, I don't get it.
Very confusing. I had a couple of very bad experiences because I just didn't get it.
Me too. And I think a lot of Westerners have that, but because we're not used to the culture.
I think it's not official yet, but people are talking about that probably someday maybe these separate diagnoses like ADHD and autism might completely be removed at some point, and it will just be spectrum of neurodivergence. And then obviously, is it ever good for us to put ourselves in a box? So
I never think so.
Yeah.
But, you know, as we discussed yesterday, I fully believe that people with these sensitivities, this different way of thinking, they have the ability to be an advanced human being, you know, because we have the abilities to feel into energies, to see the patterns of the world. And because I studied in Theravada Buddhism, these patterns, what you see, is the normal, what they call siddhis or superpowers. These same traits that I've seen in myself are what many people try to achieve in meditation. And I'm thinking, I have identified some of the traits I was born with, like the sensitivity, the shy, can't make friends, don't fit into social norms, always awkward. That has evolved through my practices. But when I started meditation, I became more sensitive, more fine-tuned to be able to identify the energies, to be able to see energies in other people. Like I can hone where someone's got cancer and what energy, emotion that they're carrying in that part of their body, and then help them release it either through like talking through counseling and psychology, because I have a degree in counseling and psychology, working through that level, or working with the energy level, like in meditation perspective. But it can be changed, and I've seen that change in a lot of my clients, where they no longer have the pain, like decades of back pain changing in someone. She gave me a review. It's a testimonial on my website. Within one session, her back pain was gone.
What a gift.
Decades of back pain. Doesn't work for everyone because some minds are absolutely closed, and that's what we can see the patterns.
Yeah.
So as a gift like this, I believe this is a neurodivergent trait. We can label it, but if you don't label it, I consider it superhuman. Now, if everyone knew how to change the energetic vibration of their body by having this awareness, nobody would want to carry the lower vibration anymore and keep working towards a higher level of vibration. And that's what I'm thinking. Come on, everyone, be like me. You know, learn how to see these traits, and you can develop, you can hone these skills, these sensitivities. I believe, classify the science neurodivergent. Like I said, if you were born in an African shaman or an African village long ago, I don't know if they still are, but I read a book about this, and they see the sensitivities, the awakeness of the child, the caring of the child, and they'll take them into training to be a shaman, to be able to work with the non-physical beings and feel the energies and to protect the tribe from black magic and all these things. They go into training as a young child. You and me are born in the Western world. We don't have this training, I know, so we're kind of like thrown into...
The culture just tried to like kind of get all these traits out of me, like, oh, you're too sensitive, pull yourself together, it's not that loud. Yes, it is for me. Maybe like, have you ever considered the possibility that for you it's different?
And people don't see that you're supposed to fit into their box.
I agree. Well, just because now also traveling on this trip that I'm doing through India and Nepal, I agree that in these settings, ashrams, meditation centers, yoga shalas, I'm meeting an incredible amount of neurodivergent people, way more than I've ever met anywhere else before. So I do believe we feel drawn to spirituality. And I do believe that it can help, like the heightened sensitivity.
Huge help.
At the same time, for me personally, for example, it's really hard to sit in meditation because there are just so many thoughts passing through at all times. And I know that for
certain
everybody...
meditation techniques you use for that. I learned one in Theravada Buddhism in Sri Lanka. I'll teach it to you.
Please,
Let's
speak about it.
Immensely helpful.
Let's speak about it because I really struggle with that. And that is also part of my neurodivergence because people kept telling me, like, you always have so many thoughts. I do.
Yeah, but we never have to, you don't have to stop your thoughts in meditation.
No, I know.
Like,
but it's like also like my jumpiness and my restlessness, and that's kind of part of the ADHD, and like the lack of control concerning my impulses. So it's, as you can see, I'm always like, maybe because I'm a lawyer also, I'm always kind of balancing. You know, it's this and it is that. It's not only this, it's not only that.
Exactly.
So,
and I love that about balance, and that's really necessary to be able to manage the world, because I myself would think critical about it, but then I'm thinking inside myself I feel the energies of being critical. Like, let's just box it into this, because it's easier for me to manage the world if I can just put it in a box.
yes.
But then I know that box is limiting me, and it's creating an energetic vibration in my digestion or something. So when you balance it out for me and you say that, it helps me.
And it also has, like, it carries one risk, and that's why I'm so reluctant to say, you know, if we just all were neurodivergent. Sometimes, I admit, I have thought these thoughts.
I think we all have.
And yet, I know that there is, for example, a current which is called Aspie supremacy. And they state that people with what was called Asperger's once, it's not called Asperger's anymore because Asperger was a Nazi, and he divided autistic people in good and bad autistic people, and he killed off the bad ones that were like useless and kind of let the good ones live. So Asperger is no longer a term, but still it's called Aspie supremacy. And those people claim that Asperger autists are more valuable or better human beings than neurotypical people. And I just firmly believe that everything that creates exclusivity does not aid humanity. So just as much as feminism will shoot over its goal when we start to discriminate men. I'm not saying we're doing that, just if we do.
Oh, I try.
Then the world will not be better for everybody, and that is the goal. We want all sentient beings to be liberated, to achieve moksha.
Exactly, yeah.
So we cannot start just from because like from a place of pain because we have suffered. We cannot start to turn that against another group of people. And that's why I don't go with these currents. So like, it's just, we're all different. I mean, I vastly appreciate qualities in neurodivergent people. And I wish more people were like that.
And
but they
can
have
become
other
the
qualities.
leaders. They can become the leaders, helping people understand things. I mean, that's what, you know, you could be trained like to do certain meditation techniques and be able to work with your thoughts, and then turn around and help others, because there's a lot of people with mental health issues that don't know what to do about it because they're stuck.
Absolutely.
But as a neurodivergent, we got the sensitivities to be able to see their stuckness, see their patterns. We can turn around and help them. So we can help people become raised in a higher level of vibration. But I love how you said that all sentient beings, because that's a big thing for me right now is animals. Everywhere I go, people are on the spiritual journey, but the animals are always never cared for and often abused. And that's breaking my heart. So I'm just going to say that to you guys. If you've got animals in your life or around you, let's include them in this raising of the vibration of sentient consciousness and raising.
Absolutely, they're so there. I work with the cows here, and I just love them so much.
Yeah.
And I talk to the crows, and
yeah. But not every animal is always cared for in a way that it's flourishing, and that's what I like to see. So, and that's a bit of disappointment, but anyways, but all beings, yes, even the men, we'll include them. The patriarchal society I think we can come into balance with it. I think that's very wise.
I hope
of
we
you,
can.
so,
Right
yeah.
now it's very, very unbalanced still. Like
Yeah.
no doubt about
Everywhere
that.
we go, everywhere we go,
Yeah.
Every ashram, every monastery I've been in, every city, for that matter, men are still in charge and looked down on.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting. So overall, how's your experience? Like you're traveling now as a neurodivergent with autism tendencies. Is that what you call it? Autistic tendencies?
No, autism.
Autism.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you say most of us prefer to say I'm an autistic person, not a person with autism. So what is it called? Person first language. Because this is how my brain is wired. So it's literally me.
Yeah, yeah. Except for when you study Theravada Buddhism, and then the mind is not you at all.
I was gonna say, but that leads too far. So for this plane of existence, it's literally me.
Even then, I could argue with that, but
Yeah, I know,
that's my mind.
I don't find the
That's
words for it.
The literal mind is going, no, wait, no. I'm going to
yeah.
hold back on that conversation for another time. But how do you manage with this and travel?
It's hard.
What are your little things that you do to support yourself?
I recommend for everybody who has autism, who is autistic, to wear or to always have at hand noise cancelling headphones, loop earplugs, normal earplugs, and in-ear headphones. So those are the 4 things that are with me at all times.
They're here right now,
Yes,
in
all
our
of them.
purple bag. Okay.
And I wear sunglasses because I realize that noise bothers me less when I wear sunglasses, for example.
Interesting.
Or light bothers me less when I wear earplugs. And I mean, I'm traveling in India, which is probably the worst place on earth for somebody with a lot of sound sensitivity.
Yeah.
I have meltdowns. I just had a really hard week here at the ashram because there was a huge celebration, and I was kind of really careful with structuring like my time and my exposition to these things, my exposure, I think you say. And still, like 2 days after the celebration ended, I completely broke down, just crying. So that happens. So I surrender to that. If I want to go to India, this is to some extent going to be part of that. This is how I work, and that's
I avoid
okay.
that big time. I'm so glad I arrived the day after it finished, like everyone had gone.
I
2
had no
days
idea
later.
what was going to happen here.
Yeah.
It's my first time here, so
yeah, that would have been massive.
you know, these things happen, and I plan regeneration time. So after here, I'm going to spend 2 days in Kochi. And I actually, because right now I have the financial capacity for that, because I'm traveling very low budget most of the time, I'm gonna stay in a nice hotel for two days to not see anybody, and to be able to eat on my room, for example, to just reset my nervous system. And from there I'm gonna go to Varanasi, which again is a very, very busy place.
Oh, yes.
But I'm gonna stay a little bit outside of the city. And I know that I've been there before, and I know that I have to plan at least 4 hours a day inside of my room,
Yeah.
so I can rest. It's a little bit of a bummer, you know, like when you want to do a lot of sightseeing. I just know I can't do that, but we all have things we can't do. Some people can't run, some people have cancer, some people, you know, like we don't have a birthright to be the perfect human being.
Unlimited potential.
Exactly,
I
it
mean,
is what it is.
that's
And
superhuman.
you know, just learn. That's why I want to coach people also. We can learn to adjust our life in a way that makes our way of living more sustainable, and that will prevent things like burnout, depression, mental health crisis, if we just learn to live in tune with our needs.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, for those of you who don't know what Varanasi is a very sacred, holy city with very big spiritual power and chaotic energy. I just stayed
As
there.
hell.
Yeah, I just stayed there a few weeks ago, and I was staying in Sarnath, which is in the Buddhist area, and it was way more quiet than in Varanasi itself. I went to Varanasi for 2 days, and the second day I had a local person travel with me, and I felt so much better traveling with someone than by myself. But I'd like to go back sometime and travel by myself and take the time to feel into everything. So I think that's, Varanasi is a big thing. But I like how you're the same as me. Like, I chose those crash times, or those times, solitude times. So in Varanasi, I usually spent that, like, when I stayed in that area, at least half a day in my own room.
Yes.
I thought, what am I here for? Like, I'm in my room, but that's my limitations. And I
Exactly.
spent time with the monk at the monastery, and that was okay too. But in Varanasi, like, give me 4 hours and get out of there. And a lot of people feel that way about Varanasi. I think it's a big thing.
I also, now I tell the people that I travel with pretty early on that I'm autistic. And I tell them, hey, it might happen that I get very overwhelmed and that I just need to leave.
That's why.
Please don't be offended.
No.
Or that I just need to put my headphones on.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you. It's not a lack of politeness.
Yeah.
And I also try to give myself structure even traveling. So I have like fixed parts in my day, meditation, usually yoga. I write a blog that I write every day, so I do have like a little bit of structure. Of course, it takes time. That is time that I don't have for sightseeing, but as I'm unable to do so much sightseeing anyway, it's fine.
You keep it in balance. So some sort of structure along your journey.
Yeah.
And I do the same. I have to have my certain things every day. But sometimes, like this morning, I did not want to do my routine. And I'm going to honor that as well. Like,
Absolutely.
all these things, and honoring the moment is super important. And like you said, head canceling. I'm not so sensitive
Head canceling
to head
headphones
canceling.
would be amazing. Mind canceling headphones.
Sound canceling headphones, yeah. For me, I'm not so sensitive to noise, but I did live in India for 2 years, and I became more accustomed to that kind of thing. But in Varanasi, whoa. So, and when I first arrived here, I was overwhelmed for at least 2 days. I had really difficulties adjusting to this.
That's why I'm leaving now, because I got so overwhelmed and I realized I could not recover for 7 days, and now I got sick again. So in India, I've been getting sick quite a bit. Not just the usual Delhi belly thing, but just body pain. So I also probably, it's not diagnosed yet, but have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is often connected with autism, which can give me a lot of pain flare-ups throughout my body. And this happens a little bit more here because, like, I don't have my space, I don't have my routine, so it comes at a cost. But it also has an immense benefit for me to be here. Again,
I get that. I get that big time. I'm on the road nonstop. I'm a nomad. I have no home. For the last 5 years.
Wow.
I go home to Australia for a month to reset, stay with my friend, but I have no possessions anymore. I'm just completely renunciate, and it's crazy doing that. But the deeper I go into that journey, the more it acknowledges myself, this is what I'm meant to do. And that persistent thought, if you get a craving, you've got to get it done. I have a craving for enlightenment, that I'm not letting this go. And that's to my advantage this lifetime. It's beneficial. It's not like I have a bad habit that I'm obsessive. I'm obsessed over enlightenment.
I get it.
I think the neurodivergent trait's working in my favor this lifetime. So I consider it
Sounds
very
amazing. I
valuable.
think, you need to be well organized. You need to know yourself a lot. I feel the older I get, the better I feel about myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So probably, I also heard that neurodivergent people have their peaks in life rather late, while others may experience having their best time in their 20s or 30s. God knows how they do it, but the older I get, I'm now 34, and literally for me, turning 30 was a turning point. Since then, things have gotten increasingly better, and I hope they will proceed to do so.
Absolutely, they will. And for me, it had happened in the monastery. When I learned these techniques, I was like, aha, now I know how to work with this mind. I now know how to work with my patterns. So it gives me that much more power. And that's when I started settling. I found the path to enlightenment. And I went, okay, and I have a meditation teacher that can take me through the whole journey as well. So it's such a huge blessing. So wow, I hope you all enjoyed and got some value and benefit from this conversation with Theresa.
It was lovely.
Thank you so much for sharing everything with the world. And just to let you know, I can put the link there for you if people want to reach out and have a session.
That would be
with
amazing.
you.
So I'm probably not starting until March, but I would say I take bookings already.
We're in March. We're in 2025 right now.
Yeah.
So because they might be watching it in five years' time and going, when's March?
All right, correct. So, yes. So March 2026, I'm starting, and I'm taking bookings from now on.
Fantastic. And I'm actually running a donation-based meditation class, which is just starting up as well. So we're both at this beginning stages because I want to reach out to more people. So
where you teach that meditation that you
it's
just
going to be online, like online circles and meditation, taking people through the different practices, because I've learned so much in the monasteries and the ashrams I've stayed at from these master teachers, and applied them to my own life as well as with clients. And I know the effectiveness and how to apply them to someone that has anxiety or depression. I know which ones can help them. That's cool. So reach out to me as well, and you've got tons of support here from both of us. If you're neurodivergent, you want more peace of mind, less anxiety, and some guidance in life.
Oh yeah, I would want to say one more thing.
Yes.
That I will also focus on people, neurodivergent people with addiction issues. Because that is a big thing.
That's a big thing.
And I have kind of worked with people with that, so I've also accumulated a lot of knowledge. I've been living sober completely for the last 3 years and a little bit more. So
wow.
Yeah.
So if you have an addiction and are neurodivergent, you come in luck. You've got some luck right here.
Reach out.
You got full support in order to change your life. To completely, they can improve their life with you. That's amazing. That's so good. Thank you for doing that for everyone.
It was lovely.
It's awesome with a bit of dogs in between. By the way, guys, I don't know if you can see this dog.
No.
This is Yogi, and Yogi was the one who was barking before. And what were you saying? Yogi's actually going to Europe?
I don't know where exactly, but I think he'll be going places.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and go and find Theresa for some support. Come and join my meditation class. And I also have a Patreon community, which is tons of information, videos, podcasts, everything on there, so people can reach out there as well. So you've got support to improve your life. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.